You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
The wheel is turning and you can't slow down. You can't let go and you can't hold on. You can't go back.
Hello and welcome back into My Wheelhouse. It is May 31st. The first finals game is tonight. Joining me, as he always does.
Yeah.
Mike. Sloan's not with us, just me and you.
Okay.
But we'll
Mono or whatever they say, right?
That's head to head or whatever you want. I'm sure we'll be able to handle it without Sloan's absence. We saw him yesterday.
Right.
He sent his
We
condolences.
won't have a referee at all either.
That's very true. Yeah, no one to calm us down. I sent up the hats and the jerseys, although that's not a Warriors jersey. I don't own a Warriors jersey, so I figured an all-star jersey could represent them perfectly fine. I don't have any news to get to before the wheel. Do you have any chumps you want to shout out?
I'm trying to remember what my chump was.
You had one.
Yeah, but I can't remember it, so let's go.
Let's go for it. I'll go right into it.
If I remember it, I'll throw it back out.
We're going to go right into the All-NBA defensive teams. So
Okay.
the All-NBA and All-NBA defensive teams came out last week. I like that they do this still. I would be really frustrated if they paired this up with the award show later June. I think once players are recognized throughout the playoffs, I think that's the best way to handle it. But at least these are still the way they are. So real quickly to go over them, All-NBA first defensive team. In the guard spots, you got Drew Holiday and Victor Oladipo. Forward spots, you got Covington from Philadelphia and Anthony Davis. And then at center, you had Rudy Gobert.
You could fool me. That's not the third team?
No, that's the first.
That's the
All-NBA,
first team All-NBA.
First defense.
First team All-Defensive NBA.
Yeah. And then All-NBA
Yeah,
defense second team is DeJounte Murray from San Antonio, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Al Horford, and Embiid.
That's not the first team?
Not the first team. So out of these 10 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, that was the first time that they made it. That's close to a record for first time makes. Pretty interesting. Clearly, you think that the second team is better defensively than the first team.
I think it just by eye. I mean, they go by all these metrics so that when you look at Covington, I guess when he's on the floor, the team scores less and all. But I don't see him as a first-team all-defensive player. I don't.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I think he deserved recognition on one of the two teams. When I did my personal ballot, I had him on my second team, so I'm not that upset that he got recognition on the first. I think
I know it's going to be over Gobert, but
right.
Gobert.
I mean, I agree. I think I like Embiid as a defensive threat just as much as Gobert, even though Gobert gets the respect more so. Gobert being on the first team kind of hints at, because we got the finalists for Defensive Player of the Year, and it was Gobert, Anthony Davis, and Embiid. So by Embiid being on the second team, I think we can just assume that Gobert is going to be Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm not assuming that. I'm thinking there's indications that it's Davis.
Maybe.
That Davis on the first team.
I doubt it, though, but maybe. It could be.
That's just my feeling that would
I hope so. That would be great. He deserves it, too.
I think he does, too. And
I think besides Covington maybe switching for Jimmy Butler, I'm not too upset about any decision. I do think that Paul George and Marcus Smart deserve consideration on either team over Draymond or DeJounte Murray. Right. But I voted for DeJounte on mine as well.
A second-year player out of San Antonio.
Right.
His statistical claim is that he's the second-best defensive rebounder other than Westbrook. But I don't see enough of his game to consider him an All-NBA defender.
Right. I mean, they had a top 5 defense in San Antonio, but I think that's more systematic. When I'm looking at him versus Marcus Smart, I think Marcus Smart has the respect and acumen as one of the best guard defenders in the entire league. Yeah. And although Murray had an impressive defensive season overall and kind of a come-out season in general, I think that Marcus Smart deserves more recognition than DeJounte did because he was probably the most talented, maybe not the most important defender, but the most talented defender on this Boston Celtics team, which was for the entire year the best defense in the entire league. So I wish Paul George and Marcus Smart got on. I understand why they didn't. I understand that Draymond Green is just going to get slotted in because that's his name. But I think that the other players deserved it. I mean, Paul George in the first half of the year was getting hype to be potential Defensive Player of the Year, and for him to not even make the defensive teams, that's unusual, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to get me started. And it's like it's like I can't understand to this day. I was giving you the Three Stooges thing, or what it was, and they do a skit. All right, it's called Niagara Falls, a skit.
Okay.
And I'm Mo and you're Curly. I'm Curly and you're Mo, but I'll play Mo or whatever it is. And then they say, well, how's it going, Mo? And Mo goes, well, Larry stole my girl. Yeah. And I went to Detroit. I went to Cleveland. I went to Minneapolis, St. Paul. I've been to Chicago. And I finally found him in Niagara Falls.
Right.
And, man, what happened that day, I don't want to ever think about again. So Curly goes, what's the matter with Niagara Falls?
Right.
And Mo turns and goes, slowly I turn, step by step, inch by inch, down and out, and walks away. And Curly goes, all I said is Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn it,
Right.
decks him again.
Yeah.
Whenever I say Draymond Green, slowly you turn. And, inch by inch, step by step, you come at me. And I don't get it because I really think that right now, he's my favorite player in the NBA Finals. Slowly he turns.
Well, it's like you're doing the same
Step
thing.
by step.
Are you trying to
Inch by inch.
Are you trying to antagonize me? I don't understand.
No, I'm saying, wait.
Why is he your favorite player?
I'm sorry. I mean, no, I know, but I mean, I want him to face you, and I want him to. It's really. No, you leave. Stop it. Stop it. This is awful. Slowly he turns, inch by inch, step by step.
That's not allowed.
No, there's so much to talk about with this guy. I've been watching him now.
Okay.
I've been watching him for so many games that I've got his game down. Okay. And I like his game. I might not like the kick on the groin. I might not like some of the things. I think he's a tremendous leader, all right, on the team. Okay. Did you watch him on the panel with Shaq and with Charles Barkley?
I didn't see that.
We're seeing. He held his own to the max. Even with the Jet looking to turn him and Barkley against each other because of what Barkley said before. Right. And Draymond was awesome. There's things that he's doing that basketball-wise are at the very top level in that league. Okay. And it's transitioned both ways, and it's how quick his feet are and how quick he responds to every play necessary. His screens are awesome.
His screens are illegal. Every single screen he sets are illegal.
Slowly he turns, step by step.
Okay, I'm waiting for you to say something that's wrong, and you said something that's wrong, so I'm going to tell you it's wrong.
I understand that nothing I can say can possibly. His screens are really good, and when his movement without the ball is as good as anybody in the league. He's always moving. So onto offense, back from defense. He makes the best hockey pass in the league, all right? So he's always, one thing I tried to coach, and it was very difficult, was that the most important pass is not the first pass. The most important pass is when you get that first pass, is knowing where that goes immediately. Nobody's doing it better than Draymond Green. When that ball comes to him, that ball moves immediately to an open. His assists, he leads the team in assists, rebounds, block shots, and rebound. In four categories, he leads his team.
Do you not think that Draymond Green's high IQ passes or whatever are clearly magnified because of the people he's passing
I've watched him close enough now. They're good. He makes mistakes.
Do you not think that maybe if 90 other players in the league were passing to the people he's passing to, you would notice those passes too?
That's a crutch.
I don't think it's a crutch.
It's a crutch. They're good passes. They're sharp passes. They're strong passes.
They're normal passes.
But what I just explained to you, that's not easy to do. To already know where the ball's going next before you catch it is a rare skill. Believe me. I mean, I've tried to coach it. It's hard.
I mean, it's not like
exceptionally well.
It's not like he's catching it and like pip passing it immediately. He's not like he's not a talented passer. He's just making normal passes, and the people that he's passing it to are extraordinary. They're really magnifying his ability.
Quick passes, accurate passes, on the go. He's completely on the move. When he's on offense, sometimes he's always going. As he catches the ball, his feet are already moving. Watch his feet. They're always moving. He's always chopping. He's always moving to the next play. He's setting screens. He's moving to the next play. His spacing is perfect. He's in sync with everything that's going on offense and defense.
How do you beat the Warriors? What are the Warriors' weaknesses? That you got to muck it up, be tough with them, and hope that they get either flustered or get into foul trouble or some sort. Really, hopefully, maybe that leads to slowing down the pace of the game or whatever. No, but I'm just saying. I'm gonna connect it to Draymond Green. And then you get out on shooters and try to restrict the amount of shots.
Is my bobblehead okay?
Yeah, he's fine. Try to restrict the amount of jump shots come from KD, Clay, and Steph by emphasizing and forcing players like Iguodala, Kevin Looney, David West, and Draymond Green to shoot.
Well, you just categorized Draymond Green with Looney
as shooters. Is that not reasonable?
He's shooting 42% from the field. I mean, I know his three-point per shooting is down.
Okay, and then another big thing, another big weakness, or another big target that opposing teams that have been successful against the Warriors is force them to play into this overconfidence that they have and force them to make sloppy turnovers and poor decisions on offense, right? Is that not another thing that is a common thread among losses that they have, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I see other weaknesses.
Okay. What other? Keep going. What other weaknesses for Warriors?
Weakness I see in that team now is I don't see Durant as connected as he should be with the rest of the team.
Okay.
So that he's bringing some, and I'm almost on Durant's side with it, but I'm seeing Draymond's leadership in that area, and when you hear him talk about, he is Curry's the right-hand guy.
Right.
He's right here. Everything's going through him. The players on the team revere him, and you would if he's on your team.
Yeah.
And I understand that completely, that if you're not on his team, you're not going to like the guy, but the quality of his play is top 15 in that league, Shay. And I know, and you're calling him the most overrated player in the league, and I say you're wrong. And I'm not doing it in spite. I'm not doing it in spite.
Back to the points where I'm trying to emphasize
what they can
the
improve their game
strategies in terms of what you're focusing on.
Obviously, Iguodala route is a weakness.
Right. Okay. But if you're playing the Warriors, the things that you're going to try to focus on, I'm saying that the strong majority of them are all going to be tailored to Draymond Green. So I'm telling you, what does that tell you? That he is the best target for you to win a game.
Because he's going to be playing 42 minutes. He's going to be involved in the assists, the rebounds, the scoring, and you're going to try to chop the head off the snake. You're going to try to go at him because he's facilitating so much out there. He's so important to that team.
Okay. So when
he's not playing 42 minutes a game because they need him on the bench.
It's different. It's not you're not taking him out of the game. If you're the person going against Draymond Green, if you're trying to beat the Warriors, you want Draymond Green making decisions. You want him with the ball because you want him to make sloppy decisions.
You want to take away his decisions.
He's the most likely player on that team to make bad decisions.
You're not allowing him to make decisions. You're trying to stop his decisions, and he's very difficult to stop. You can't stop his transition real well.
No, you're not. Transition-wise, he's one of the worst passers that I've ever seen. His lobs to the rim are terrible.
Slowly he turns.
Mistimed.
One of the worst passes. I'm seeing
out of bounds frequently. Missing players.
Stop that right there. Here's something else. He's really good. I know it's very minute. It's a small detail. He takes the ball out of bounds and inbounds it as quick as any player that I'm watching.
What a ridiculous thing to compliment about a player.
It is not.
What a ridiculous.
It is not.
Are you just looking for a random thing to compliment?
I
could name 19,000
I said it was a
players
detail. I said it was a detail. But when you assign a player that job, and you want a player that's doing that is making that transition as quick as possible. Watch how slow some guys take that ball out of the net. The ball might even roll sometimes. Guy will pick it up. Draymond Green rips it out, steps out. It's Boston Celtics style ball, the way he does that.
What an
irrelevant
difference maker between him and any other player in the league. Who cares how fast he inbounds a ball?
They're on offense quicker.
Okay, but you're telling, but that's not something that's
the transition is.
That's not
the game
that's
is transition.
Significant to him.
The game
only.
is transition.
Okay,
so it's how quick you get on offense.
Okay, how about
he's facilitating that?
Another way to target the Warriors is to really focus on low post scoring. Correct? But low post scoring. Carl Anthony.
Well,
Towns,
there's very little low post scoring in the league. So
that's what I'm saying. But that's a skill that their rim protection. They're a hard team to go at when they're at the rim because they're so malleable defensively, and they're able to handle the decision-making when it gets to the rim. But if you have a commendable low-post scorer who has lots of low-post moves, they're really, really weak in being able to handle that defensively. Who does that most drastically reflect? Draymond Green.
No.
I'm just telling you that every single
I know you're
way
trying to tell me that
you heighten the ability to beat the Warriors is because of Draymond Green.
I say he's the best 6'7" rim protector in the league.
Yeah,
the best 6'7" rim protector. He's only 6'7", Shay.
Yeah, he's
short.
6'7".
He protects the rim. He plays big.
Fouls.
He's probably the biggest. He's probably the biggest playing 6'7" in the league.
He's probably fouling more than anyone in the league.
Well, he's my favorite player in the playoffs. I'm watching him every game, and I'm watching him.
I think it's really embarrassing to say that he's your favorite player because
he absolutely is, and I'm not doing it in spite. I'm watching him, and I'm enjoying his game.
When you watch him,
I challenge anybody else to watch him and not enjoy that game. He's playing real basketball.
I challenged anyone to watch him and like anything that he does. It's so embarrassingly obvious, and it's
slowly he turns,
blatant. It's
step by step, inch by inch.
The distinction your weird Three Stooges where Draymond Green is a Three Stooge
no.
really plays
There you
into
go.
my
There
argument
you
as
go.
well. Yes,
Yeah.
Draymond Green is a stooge. The way he acts
Okay,
on the
okay,
basketball court,
okay.
on not only on basketball decisions, but also his behavior is embarrassing.
I just want you to know that this is not in spite, and that this bobblehead is not in spite. It's because I am watching this, and that is a judgment that I am making as somebody that is interested in the game.
I've already done it, but I'll send you my notes when I watch the Warriors game.
We
on
tried
Draymond
that
Green.
earlier in the season.
It's just
I've
you
had a
don't-
long
you see
time to
different
watch
things,
him
I do.
since then.
You see different things,
I
I do.
will. I'll do that again with you. Let's watch. He's got 4, 5, 6, or 7 games coming up.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
Okay. You have any final
And
comments?
I
on the
challenge
All-NBA
you to be objective,
defense?
because every time you're not objective, Mo, Larry, and Curly are coming to play.
That's okay with me. That if you want to use the Stooges to judge Draymond Green, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm
to me.
not. I'm doing the Stooges to. I love you, Shay.
I
But
know.
I'm using the Stooges to judge.
All right. What's your favorite moment in the playoffs so far? Or give me a couple of your favorites. You got three? Yeah, that's a good moment. I agree. Marcus Morris to who was it? It wasn't to
So it was still Embiid.
Embiid. Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was great.
So that moment, that's
That was
in my
back
head.
when I liked what Marcus Morris was doing.
We're not. I'm not. I'm gonna accept a lot of that from Marcus Morris.
He played great in
I think
80% of the games.
I
in
think
playoffs, he
Draymond's
was
a lot
great.
better than Marcus Morris. A lot better than Marcus Morris. He's a top 15 player. I
that's-
don't feel that way about Marcus
So
Morris.
that's an interesting
I
debate.
like him.
That's an interesting debate because something that I would argue is that if you put either one of the Morris twins on the Warriors instead of Draymond Green, I think they could do just as good a job by the end of the season as Draymond Green is doing. I just think what he's offering is replaceable. But whatever. What other moments do you like?
I like the Brad Stevens ATO in the confetti game to
Yep.
Horford.
Yep, that was beautiful.
That was and
one of
that game's one of my moments, a big
that game in
moment for me,
general.
the whole game in
I was
general.
going to say the
But
confetti,
that play out of
game
bounds,
I think was my favorite game of the
so
playoffs.
that ATO over the top, that's one of my favorite
It
moments.
really shone through, and you could see right there more than other instances. And obviously, Brad's fingerprints are all over the plays, out of timeouts at the end of the game and stuff like that. But that one more than others, you could say, "Oh my God, look how intricate the screen work was, how they were forcing certain switches,
He keeps
and how the
that's
pass worked."
such a nebulous thing to say a guy's good with his ATOs, but he keeps building on that, and he seems to never let you down on it, and it's almost like, well, what's he going to do this time? And then he does something again, and that was one of my favorite moments.
I agree.
What are yours?
I got a couple of, the whole Terry Drew Bledsoe thing was hilarious. I just love that
Scary
interaction.
Terry and the
For
winery and
right, for Eric Bledsoe to really,
all of that.
coming into the playoffs,
That
Eric
was
Bledsoe
really-
was commonly
that was a
accepted
good
to be a
moment.
superior player to Terry Rozier, and now that's really up in the air, or Terry Rozier is better. And it's interesting how that debate got flipped on the head because of how those two performed, and really got accentuated by Terry's step back on Eric Bledsoe to win to essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, that game got put into overtime, but because of Middleton's crazy shot. But that moment itself was
Yes.
after the accumulation of all that
and we'll
feud.
never know whether he really meant to call him Drew
No, we
Bledsoe
don't.
or not.
That's the best part about it. It's
that's
interesting.
a good part of it,
But
too.
it's funny. Both of these, the confetti thing and the Eric Bledsoe, Drew Bledsoe. If you wanted to enjoy any of those moments, Terry Rozier's got a shirt for all of them. He's
had him for a long. He's had him since the All-Star game.
So maybe
he was prepared for the moment.
Maybe Terry in general is our favorite playoff moment.
That's cool.
He was there. I think I want to give a shout out to LeBron's game winners.
Unbelievable.
LeBron's game winners.
The runner against them off the bank.
Me and cousin James and cousin Matt and my brother Logan were playing horse at Jim's, and we must have tried that shot like 35 times.
How many feet do you think he was? You think it was 15, 17 feet when he banked that?
Yeah, like 18 feet.
That is an
It's so
amazing
far away.
shot.
It's
It's an
very far away.
amazing shot.
And what was interesting was, but before this postseason, that's a shot we've never seen him attempt.
No.
But then,
Well, we've
come the Celtics series, he attempted that shot 3 or 4 more
did,
times. It was
and he made it.
closer. It
And
was
he made it.
closer.
He made one
It
of
was
them, too.
closer, but he makes them.
Yes.
It's an interesting shot to have a new shot.
It's similar to that fall away from distance now that
Yep.
he started making from the very beginning of this year. That's not a shot he made
No.
over and over in the past.
I
either.
think when you're watching great players, like all-time good players, it's interesting to focus on what move they always go back to and when they bring that move into their game. And more often than not, it's when they start to age and with.
He hasn't started age yet.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, but with him, I don't really know what his go-to move is yet, but he's having these new moves that no one else does. That's what makes them so special. That it looks like he could score on them every time, and that's why they're so significant. And one of them is like he's posting up, but he's not posting up because he has the ball the entire time, and he's dribbling and he turns and bodies and he turns and faces again and he dribbles and eventually it just turns into a layup, but it only takes 7 seconds and he bumps the guy who's guarding him 8 times. he does that a lot now, and that's something that no one else in the league does.
In general,
it's an unusual shift from post to face up to post to face up from the 3-point line.
He's quick enough out here with the ball,
right?
And then he's strong enough every inch of the way going in
yeah.
to have so many options on his way in of what he's going to do. And
right.
Sometimes he actually ends up with a wide open 10-footer.
Exactly.
Because everybody is just like, man, we got to protect this any way we can, and it's going to be back here.
And we're seeing signs. He hasn't done it a lot, but we're seeing signs of like a hook game that he's breaking out of this in and out spin into post.
Yet.
You saw the lefty baby hooks. He had some lefty baby hooks.
True.
He only made one of them, but he missed like 3. But it's interesting because he brought those out against the Warriors last year in the finals. And it's interesting and very excitable to think about what new moves he's going to be adding to his game. So I think LeBron's new moves are one of my favorite playoff
And you
moments.
only get that from practicing.
Exactly.
So he's putting a lot of time in, boy.
Exactly.
As they say about a musician, he's been in the woodshed a lot.
Yes.
So he's coming out with that stuff. Kuzi he was surfaced and had a lot of comments, and he had an interesting take on LeBron and Jordan and the GOAT, the best player of all time. And the way he put it was this way: Bill Russell is the greatest team player of all time. Okay. LeBron is the greatest individual player of all time. And then he started to go over what it was there. And I never thought of it that way, and I think that's probably consistent with what you thought about that in the past 4, where it kind of separates Russell as an individual, but it still gives him the 11 out of 12 championships and all of that. And
there's a lot of different ways to really funnel how you're titling and how you personally judge.
But I think that's a nice description of it.
Yeah, I agree. And you could say that Michael Jordan's the best winner of all time. And there's different ways.
You can't say that when somebody's won 11 out of 12 championships. I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. But there's different ways to frame it.
That was Kuzi's
What about so my favorite playoff moments were Terry and LeBron's new moves.
Yep.
Was there anything in the Western Conference that was a highlight for you? Because I couldn't think of anything.
That is my one. The only one I had was that I really enjoyed the Pelicans against the Trailblazers in terms of how well the Pelicans played.
Yeah.
But you had Rondo, Holiday, and Davis all playing at a high level and a style of play out there that was so dynamic.
Yes.
And playing against a team that they were underdogs, where they just ran them right out of the country.
It was definitely one of the biggest surprises of the playoffs.
And it was tremendous play.
Yes,
whether by David and Holiday, to all 3 of them. Tremendous play. So that was a highlight for me, even though it was 4-0.
I was trying to think of the other series, and that one came to mind, but then once New Orleans got to the next round, there was nothing really that shown with them. Up until the Rockets-Warriors, I think even with the Rocket-Warriors, maybe Clay's 9-3 game was the only game that really shone for me.
Yeah,
maybe we'll touch on that.
The Curry flurries were pretty decent.
Flurries. I was thinking that Donovan Mitchell had one play that really stood out where he missed front rim and then put his own putback down.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was one singular moment that stood out for me. But overall, I was more impressed with certain storylines overall in the Eastern Conference. Maybe it's because we're more connected to the Celtics.
Sure.
And because LeBron is easier to pay attention to. But those guys stood out more than what I saw in the West.
Want that to be where I'm from. I'm from the Celtics. I'm from Russell and Kuzi and Heinsohn and Collins.
It's interesting. I mean,
Havlicek. That's where I'm
we try not to be biased, but we have a bias for a reason. And it's interesting to think about, too, with LeBron James and how he's perceived and how he's covered. The people that don't like LeBron James have such a they're so frustrated with ESPN and media in general, and they're like, oh, they're really riding LeBron. They love LeBron. Why do they give so much LeBron? And it's just like, what do you want them to do? Like, he's the best player in the league. Should you not cover the best player in the league the most? You know what I mean?
Last night I'm at the event we were at. I'm talking basketball with some people, and we were talking about the Jordan and LeBron debate. And the person watches The Wheelhouse, and the person said to me, "Thank you for watching. Shea must really hate LeBron." I said, "What do you mean?"
Well, clearly he doesn't watch.
He wears that crybaby I said, "Well,
don't hate LeBron.
He wears that cry." I said, that was they didn't know it was what the result of that was. So I'm sorry you had to wear that.
It's okay. That was part of the bet.
It made me feel good. It was in a self-serving way that it worked to at least one person.
But it's interesting, and I was talking to Logan and Matt about it, and they said that their memory isn't 100% perfect, and coverage of sports in general was much less than it is now. But they remembered that when they were watching like ABC Sports and sports on NBC and whenever they had it, that Michael Jordan was revered the way that he should be then, and he didn't have detractors or that many. So
No, he really didn't.
I just think it's interesting that maybe it's because of like LeBron's diva-esque personality, maybe that it just causes more. It's frustrating.
I mean, ripping the shirt off at the last game, the big production going to Miami.
Decision was terrible.
I mean, that didn't play well with everybody. I got one on LeBron though that I don't know whether it'll spin up or not, which I think is pretty relevant.
Do you agree though, Terry and LeBron's things best playoff moments?
Okay.
Yeah. No? What was your best playoff moment?
I told you what my moments. LeBron, Terry, yeah, I agree.
But in the Pelicans, you like the Pelicans?
They were fantastic.
All right, let's review real quick the Rockets Warriors.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be both conference finals were really up and down in terms of how you looked at them. And in the first 4 games,
we were the good games.
Yeah, in the first 4 games of both series, there were blowouts on either side. But in the turn, games 5, 6, and 7. Especially in the Rockets-Warriors, the intensity heightened. Game 5 was one of the most unusual games we've seen out of the Western Conference playoffs picture. Chris Paul's injury really put a fork in the sport.
It did.
It was very unfortunate.
You didn't see it in the first half.
My heart hurts for him, and clearly that was his biggest moment of his entire career. That's the biggest moment of his life, to be in that series, to be playing for a championship, because he's never been given that opportunity despite having top 5 player in the league seasons constantly over and over and over. 08, 09, that Chris Paul and the Hornets when he's leading the team that has a washed up Peja and a strong David West, but they can't get past that lip. It's sad for this to really cultivate in the wrong way, and it's sad. But do you think that the Rockets would have won if he played, or do you think the Warriors would have?
I think in those last 2 games, I think it was right at the end of the game that Paul got hurt, if you remember, and he had to go and he never came back in again. He was playing really well.
He was playing awesome.
So that
I would argue that he
played well day in and day out the whole series. But
I could argue that he outplayed Harden in that series.
At that point, he was playing really well. So because of how well he was playing, and there being another game in Houston, and then leading at the half in those games by 10 and 11 points, I don't have any reason to think of, and we can talk, this is kind of a topic of discussion, and one is the 3-point shot. And in that final game, we all know they missed 27 consecutive threes.
Crazy.
27 shots in a row they missed from 3.
And they were nice looks, open, not all of them,
they were.
But majority of them were open looks.
They were just ridiculous how they kept mounting. I mean, and they kept being good looks.
Right.
And I was on the radio in the second half because I had lost my connection without the cable, and the way I'm trying to do things. But they all sounded like good takes from about number 18 all the way up to number 27. Well, you were expecting another one to go in.
I mean, you
were
watching.
Paul stop that. You probably could have stopped that.
I think absolutely. That's something that
he could have found somebody better, or he could have made it himself.
I think if Chris Paul is in that game 7, I think they would have lost game 6 no matter what, whether Chris Paul played or not. And I think that shone through. And what difference Chris Paul would have made wouldn't have really made that bit of a differentiator in game 6. But in game 7 specifically, especially when they were showing to be so promising in how they were playing, and specifically in the first quarter, less so in the second quarter, but the first half overall. I was saying over and over again, they finished the half up 11. I was saying if they're not up 17 or 18 points, they're going to lose by 10. And it's because you know that
third at home.
It's because you know that third quarter flurry's coming.
Yeah.
And even with this high variance of 3-point scoring, where you can say anything could happen, the Rockets could score 15 points in 2 minutes and it wouldn't matter. But obviously this was a worst case scenario for the Rockets. And watching this, where they're really digging in to their identity and to their MO, where they're playing the analytics game, they're only shooting threes and layups, and they're living and dying by the 3. It's a common thing to be said, and it really played out unfortunately for them. It's something like James Harden was more likely, statistically, James Harden was more likely to be struck by lightning in that game than them to miss 27 3-pointers.
But
statistically, all the numbers added up.
The night before, you had seen 7 for 39.
Exactly.
So it's demoralizing to lose that many.
What Chris Paul changes is Chris Paul's experience and IQ as a player and a game navigator. With him on the court, he's going to be able to take advantage of whatever the defense is giving him. Something that where D'Antoni's system, if given the right players, and this is maybe the best possible situation he could be given for a championship to be won, he was only 5 wins away from an NBA championship. Where it fails him is if it's going wrong, they dig themselves deeper and hope that digs them out, and it could. We've seen it work in the reverse.
I'll agree with you, and I'll leave it.
With Chris Paul, he is someone that if he was in that game, he's going to change the nature of that offense. He's going to slow it down and find the right shot, not take the right shot as soon as you see it. He's going to find what perfect shot the defense is giving them. He's going to put pressure on the defense. He's going to slow it down for a little bit, being saying, hey, this doesn't work. We've missed 10 straight or whatever it have you. And he's really going to take it upon himself to carry them with some type of ferocity that James Harden didn't have.
Oh, he could have made a three.
James Harden clearly has weak legs. It's something that I don't think he's in the same ilk as like a DeMar DeRozan in terms of someone who really quibbles in the big moments. But I think he gets tired easily late in the season, late in games, and I think that you could see it, that he was struggling to even get open with Sean Livingston guarding him. Sean Livingston had to barely deny the ball, a three-point line, wing extended. When PJ Tucker caught the ball off of Eric Gordon bringing the ball up, he couldn't even get open. And it was so obvious to me that I was like, man, this guy's tired. And he wasn't even doing a lot. In the first half of the game, he was taken to the hoop, and that's where Chris Paul matters so much, to lighten the load on James Harden and to be able to answer defensive adjustments and offensive stagnancies. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they really, really needed him, and I think they could have won. I don't know if they would have, but they definitely could have. I think they would have.
Bring what you just said about the three-point shot to a head, and you know I'm a purist on this because for whatever reason, because I go back so far, whatever it is. I can't stand that the game has become virtually 100% threes and layups.
Right.
And this is what, I'll bring it to this point. I cannot stand from a coaching standpoint or a player standpoint how anyone can be allowed to miss 27 straight shots and then be encouraged to take the next shot.
I agree.
They never stop. Celtics or whatever it is, they still take the next one. Everybody's still got the green light. There's something wrong with that picture. When you miss 27 threes in a row,
something's not working.
Aren't you going to say, you don't shoot that shot no more? That's not what they say. Shoot the next one. If you're open, it's there, you feel it, take it, that shot's a good one.
That's because
no
the numbers
how many shots they miss,
they trust the numbers, and the numbers say that you just missed 27 straight. That means the next one is very likely to go in. I agree with you 100%. You're 100% right. If something isn't working, you have to find something else that's working.
It's because of the value of the shot.
Right.
It's because the three-point value is so high on that shot.
I mean, if you're down by 8, that gets you back in the game faster.
As a purist, it's distorted the game.
For sure.
And those two, those games were hard to watch because of that. The Celtics game was miserable to watch because of that.
Certain ones, and that's the nature of this style of play. And if you watch
it is Brad ball, it is that ball.
When we're watching this game, and we spoke on it, the first 4 games of both Western Conference and Eastern Conference series were such high variance because of the three-pointers. More likely than not, you're going to have one team hitting and one team not hitting than both hitting. Like, it's going to be up and down with how each team is performing in this high variance outcome strategy. So that's why we see 20-point blowouts so often. But you can't tell
Ariza, who's 0 for 11, that you don't take anymore. I mean, why can't you just say...
It's just like, I understand why he's shooting it.
Why are you shooting the 12th one when he's 0 for 11?
Because he's open, that's why, and he shouldn't
way back, when I played, nobody shot that shot.
No.
And then you were called a gunner if you shot that shot. And if anybody took 10 of those in a game... You chased him to the locker room, and he better hide his face because you just didn't do that to your team. You didn't shoot from that far out. You found better opportunities.
Right, the team has accepted that, and that's a goal that they come into the game, and
the flip side of it is more likely to die for those 2 games.
And it's interesting because the Warriors, being a higher level team than the Rockets were phenomenal, had one of the best seasons of all, in terms of offensive output that we've ever seen. In terms of, they won 65 games. They were blowing teams out left and right.
68, right?
65.
Okay.
And they were phenomenal. But the Warriors, where they differ, is I think they have a little bit of that. Okay, this isn't working this game. Let's adjust. And whether Kevin Durant helps that, or whether it's just Kerr's adjustments, or whether it's Clay being able to read the D. They are more likely, if they're not making threes and if they start a game 2 for 15, they'll take a dribble in and take a mid-range jump shot, even though formerly that was something that was completely taboo. So it's really interesting to watch them as a microcosm of this league, that they kind of have developed this style and how they're adjusting to what everyone else is doing
at this point, will they develop an alternative to have another a notch on their belt or a trick in their bag to counter 0 for 27 and 7 for 39, where at this point, we don't look for that no more. We start looking for something. We got another part of our game that works between here and the layup.
So briefly we'll have more time to talk about the Warriors. Briefly, give me some thoughts.
That's going on.
Give me some thoughts about the Rockets and how they performed in this series, and whether or not
the Rockets.
Yeah, whether or not they think you think that they could bring back the same core, who they think they should target, and whether you think that moving forward, they should continue having the same strategy.
I think D'Antoni's tired, and I think he may be at the end of his coaching career, and I don't know whether he has.
How old is D'Antoni?
He's going to be 60, maybe a little bit more. He's been around
a
long time. He's got a lot of miles on him. I don't think he's the one that's going to bring them. I think that's a problem. I know he's got there's good things there. If they're going to keep Capella, if they're going to lose Capella, are they going to have to add LeBron James? They're going to need something that shakes them up.
Yeah.
And I can't, unless Golden State is slipping, unless that's possible, and Durant is out of there. I don't really see the Rockets as any better threat than New Orleans or the Timberwolves, in my mind, in terms of potential to do something next year. I mean, maybe a little bit better than that, but
it's interesting because
I don't see them as the heir apparent to
not only is
the Warriors.
Capella a restricted free agent this year, and it's been rumored that he's going to be offered big money from a couple different teams, including the Phoenix Suns. We'll see. Maybe that'll change if they draft Ayton, but we'll find out. But other teams have been rumored to be willing to really break the bank of Capella. Not only that, but Trevor Ariza is an unrestricted free agent. I don't think they're going to have enough money to bring him back, and he's an important defensive cog for them. One of the most impressive players for me on this team, and he really rose the ranks in my perception. Gordon played well. It was P.J. Tucker.
Yeah.
P.J. Tucker played Game 7 with 3 root canals.
Wow.
He had 3 root canals the night before.
Put him on your Mike Tyson list.
He told no one. Put him on
and
the
he
Mike
got 3
root canals the night before. What do you have? 10 rebounds. His boxing out is some of the best boxing out I've seen in the league. And he was destroying Draymond Green on box
Question, because I know we're going fast. A question I have on Capella.
Yeah.
How many points a game would he score if there wasn't James Harden there? I mean, James Harden how many gifts does James Harden give Capella?
Both him and Paul. That's
it's got to be 3 or 4 hoops
So that's
a game.
something very interesting.
So how many would Capella average somewhere else where he didn't have somebody that was facilitating that dunk at the rim 3 times a game? He might only average 8 points a game.
Right. If the Rockets try to go out and grab a LeBron or whoever it is, Capella's gone, and it's not even close. But it's something interesting to think about if they're trying to really bolster this roster and maybe even replace an Ariza with another mid-level exception to around a $10 million player. They're going to need to give Capella money, but they won't be able to match close to what he's going to be offered elsewhere. So it's going to be an interesting act of persuasion for him to say, hey, you're playing with the 2 best pick-and-roll ball handlers in the league. These guys are making your job really easy. And it's true, and I think Capella would succeed elsewhere because he's shown a lot.
Okay.
He was in certain games in that series, he looked like an all-star. And I thought that he performed very well. It was unfortunate because in certain games he couldn't even play. So it's an interesting balance. But if I was Capella, if there's no LeBron, I would be coming back, even if it was for $5 or $6 million less. That's my stance on it.
Okay, we'll see what happens with the Rockets.
I think that says sees Celtics review.
Wow,
for
it's a
the
long one.
season.
I don't know how much time we got here.
So roller coaster season for sure. I just want to get some macro perspectives on coming in. What was our over-under in the beginning of the season? 52?
I won 55.
Yeah, but like the Vegas odds. It was 52 and a half, right?
For games, yeah.
It was 52 and a half. I think I said 58, which was
really before the after.
Before Hayward. And I think I adjusted it down.
After Hayward, I said 55, and I think that's what they want.
I think I went back to like 54. Yeah, you were close to right. So it's interesting to think about this roller coaster of a season, coming in, having what looked like a conference finals contender. It's funny that we ended up getting there, but with a completely different cast than expected. Gordon goes down 6 minutes into the season. Kyrie ends up having to really focus on the knee surgery that he thought he was going to be able to hold off to until the offseason. So just with everything compiling on top of each other, we got development from Jalen that was not projected immediately, but he really came onto the scene strong. We saw one of the best rookie seasons, it was the 3rd best rookie season this year, but in 90% of all rookie years, this is the rookie of the year.
Yeah, count the playoffs.
Right, count the playoffs, he's the rookie of the year. I agree. And even with role players, Marcus Smart, it's going to be an interesting thought process to really judge whether he's going to be worth more than $10 million or whether he might just take that just contract extension just for 1 more year and enter into free agency next year. Terry's value has skyrocketed. What thing from the Celtics season, being so many details, stood out you most?
What stands out to me the most is that the Celtics brand lived. And when you go back to the 11 out of 12 championships that was created by Russell, Heinsohn, and Cousy and Auerbach, that is still alive today. And that is a very select club. And when you see Paul Pierce there, he is so proud to be part of that club. And there's no other team in basketball or in sports that generates that from Cousy and Heinsohn and Russell and that depth of history on the team. And I will say this, LeBron will never be a member of that club.
No.
And LeBron never being a member of that club gives Pierce one up on him and gives all those other guys one up. LeBron would love to be part of that club because I think that's the most revered spot in NBA is to be part of that Celtics club. The way they treat each other, the way they respect each other, the way Havlicek comes to practices, the way everything is connected over such a long period of time. It's a basketball player's dream, and I thought we saw that carried out with all the ups and downs of the seasons, the way we stayed strong. And with Danny Ainge right there and Brad Stevens carrying that on, I got no reason that's going on for a long time. And when Russell passes and Heinsohn passes, I think we've got enough there in history to keep that going. Do you see where they did a documentary on the 08?
I know, I didn't watch it.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's on my
doc. The 08 is my least favorite championship team. And one of the reasons is that they manufacture that, and the history with Garnett and Allen is not as deep as it is with with Pierce or with guys that were there for a long time. And I hope that Tatum and Brown are going to be there for 10 years. And if they're going to be there for 10 years, they are really Celtics. That's the Celtics brand. And Stevens is right there with them. And I'll take whatever they give me. And I don't agree with you and Sloan. And in even terms of the Rockets, with being able to call the future and what's coming next. We have no idea what's coming next year. We don't know if LeBron's going to Philadelphia and the Celtics get knocked out early. We don't know that. This may have been as good an opportunity as they had. Same thing with the Rockets. We don't know next year whether they're going to be a contender or not. All we know is what we had this year, and that they took us right to the brink of going to the finals. I am disgusted with the talk shows, and I don't listen to them very often, but because of the show I do, they are all over Ainge and Stevens for the decisions they made in that Game 7, and they are crucifying them for not beating Cleveland. Cleveland could barely beat Indiana, they're going. And they come in here, and we could. Well, I think that is really ass backwards to be looking at this season that way, and it's typical of the media and how they're trying to grab at straws to find something controversial. This team was beautiful, and I going forward, I'm really excited about that team. I think getting beat, it's almost something where the ceiling is now, at least they've got some room on the ceiling for Hayward and Irving to come back in and play to that ceiling. If they went to the finals, that ceiling's so small for Hayward and Irving that I think it could have been a problem. And if they ever won the whole thing, what the heck was the ceiling for Irving then, So I think going into next year, we've got that room to go a step further, and it's going to be very exciting to see how that plays out. Smart and Rozier, I think we talked a little bit about it. I think there's moves that need to, I think Trader Dan, you may see something happen. And I know they like Mo Bamba, and you've talked about that. Orlando's got the 6th pick. That may be Mo Bamba. We may trade Rozier and a pick to try to get in that position. I know Davis is not available. I thought he might be. I'm saying the other guy I would put on the block, another interesting thing Cousy said, and he's 90 years old, so I take it with a little bit of grain of salt. Al Horford will never take us to the promised land, he said.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
I know. I'm just saying that Cousy. That's his analysis of it, and I'm saying, in my own mind, I'm thinking that he's someone that's somewhat expendable. If we could ever trade Horford and get back Davis with Horford, Rozier, and a number 1 pick, and put that package and get back Davis, the team with Davis and Hayward and Irving and Brown and Tatum. I like that. I mean, that's. I mean, that's
going back to the middle.
I don't like seeing either one of those guys go to the bench, Brown or Tatum. I don't like that.
I don't like that either, and I don't think that they will. So going to, in terms of just a brief outlook for next year coming up, I think that we are going to be starting Kyrie and those 3 swings and Al Horford, and I think that if you look across the league, the immediate reaction to hearing that you're going to start Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown at the 2 through 4 slots, just kind of positionless. There's no power forward, there's no shooting guard, there's no small forward, there's just 3 guys. The reason that gets so much just lashback is because they think that that's going to, 1, be just too easy to handle in terms of other teams' offenses, and 2, it's going to put too much weight and pressure on Horford. But it's something interesting to think about is I think if you look across the entire league, there's maybe only 3 or 4 teams. It's Detroit, it's San Antonio, it's Minnesota, and maybe a handful, maybe 2 other max that play traditional 2 big basketball starting lineups. And every other lineup in the league has some form of a stretch 5, a stretch 4, a 6, 7 and under 4 power forward, or just a small ball perceived in general lineup that Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward, at the combination of being able to match up as a 4, will be able to handle just fine. And
well,
our
they're defensively so strong.
Exactly.
That's going to neutralize what they can do, what the other team can attack them with.
Exactly.
They're very strong defensively.
And the big difference between what the Celtics have
they
to
got Baines.
Yeah, the big. We might not see
but
Baines
he
coming
wants
back.
to be there. I can't see why we
Baines
wouldn't.
back. I like Baines, but something to really another way to judge it is if you're looking at this team in terms of how they're going to perform with the more veteran-esque players in terms of Horford and what his weight is and what his load is. I think that Brad proved this year that he knows how to handle star minutes so that they can be able to perform later in the season. We saw it with Kyrie Irving. He was very cautious with the minutes that he played Kyrie near injuries. And you saw it with Al. Al Horford's only going to need to play 29, 28 minutes a game this year and the next year in the regular season to be able to help this team win enough games to get a 1, 2, or 3 seed.
Yep.
And when it comes to the playoffs, that when you
Then he's ready to go.
You can tick up his minutes to 35 minutes.
Say, other than Tatum, the guy that played the best against Cleveland was Horford.
Yes.
In terms of the
it's very interesting. He played phenomenal when Tristan Thompson wasn't on the floor.
That's absolutely true.
Tristan
Thompson neutralized him.
Yes, he did.
And that was one thought I had when we're talking about the threes and just talking about the bigs is that I was very hungry when I was watching for that 7:39, that 27 in a row. I said, man, I wish I had Jabbar, Chamberlain, Walton, Ewing. I wish the teams had that as that other alternative to go to when they're not hitting the three. Wouldn't that have been nice to have Wilt Chamberlain in there or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Where are those guys? And nobody's playing. Like you said, the low post game is non-existent anymore.
So, I mean, maybe we could. I mean, I would not be surprised if fireworks are made and the Boston Celtics continue to have the deepest treasure chest in terms of assets in the league. It's surprising to people to think, even after we cashed in some of them to get Kyrie Irving, that we still have by far the best package to offer if any star becomes available. Davis, Kawhi. I mean, it could be.
So Davis,
it could be Anthony.
Davis will be in New Orleans next year.
I think Davis is in New Orleans.
That's the one to wait for.
Minimum to the trade deadline and probably until the year after that. I think that it's a very strong and smart decision to target more young players that are promising, that Danny and Brad and the team in general agrees on in upcoming drafts, like Mo Bamba. I think that them liking him and how he could fit in on this team initially as a bench player. Imagine we don't bring back. Imagine we bring back Marcus Smart, but we include Terry Rozier in some.
And we got Morris under contract.
Right, and some allotment of picks.
There's nothing wrong with Tice.
And I love Tice.
Nothing wrong with Ojale.
So moving forward, imagine if we're bringing Marcus Smart and Mo Bamba off the bench. We would have 7 of the 10 best defensive lineups in basketball. Well, and that would be a great way for him to develop.
One question on Bamba is his commitment to the game, and I'm seeing that a little bit. But I'll trust that to Danny Ainge. I would like to see that train.
I think that would be great. I think that the top 4 picks, in no specific order, are probably going to be Ayton, Doncic, Bagley, and Jaren Jackson. So I can't
see Jackson.
He's really revered among NBA groups.
I know.
Some people
he's
have
so
him.
Raw.
Some people have. He's the youngest prospect.
Yes.
So that's why certain places like
he's more like a Favors.
That's why
Favors.
Sacramento and Atlanta make more sense for him because he is young and he's far away, so he needs to be given time. But when it comes
Bamba at 5.
Right, we need to be able to move to either Dallas, but Dallas likes Bamba, so it could be nerve-wracking. It could be nerve-wracking.
So really, it's whether Orlando by chance. But if he ever could fall to Orlando and waiting there for a package because they need a point guard bad, and Rozier may be the guy they're looking for.
What I'm hoping happens is something that I discussed in previous weeks is I hope the Clippers move up to Dallas, and I hope they trade with Dallas, giving them DeAndre Jordan or something like that, because the Clippers are known to be going after Michael Porter, and if they draft Michael Porter at 5, that makes us must be more likely to be able to trade with Orlando at 6.
That would be really cool. I would like that.
Let's just go straight to the finals. All right, so it's the 4th year in a row. We have the same matchup, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Are you going to return Draymond to me before the end of the show, or
we'll see? Maybe he might.
I can't even reach him.
No, you can't. He's going to stay over there. He's facing the wall. He's like it's what he's wearing a dunce cap. So
slowly he turns.
Yeah. So we got the Golden State Warriors for the 4th straight year versus LeBron James. Do you think this series goes beyond 5? That's what everyone's predicting right now. The majority of pundits and analysts are predicting 5. What do you see?
I think Golden State's got some rough edges. They only won 50-some-odd games this year, right? Curry has had the Curry flurries, but other than that,
it's just Curry flurries.
He hasn't really played that well. I think Durant has played quite well, and I think it's bothering him that he's playing second fiddle to Curry, and that he's taking some flack. I think he's got maybe not a whole foot out the door, but at least his toes are out the door.
His toes are out the door. I agree with the toes. I don't think he's leaving. I think he's going to come back because I think they're going to win, and I think he's going to realize that, okay,
right.
I'm still here for this,
but
and I'm getting this.
And the combination of Looney having to play and Iguodala not being in the lineup, I think that gives Cleveland a little bit of opportunity. On the plus side for Cleveland,
Kevin Love's playing tonight.
I was just going to say this. And Stevens is saying it, and other people say it, and I observed that Matt hates Jeff Green. But my observation is that they played better with Green than they did with Love.
Defensively.
Because defense is important. So their ability to switch and their ability to cover, and and Love was only averaging 13.9 points a game. Right. I think they could get the rebounds from. I like that formulation almost better than Love. I think they may get kicked with Love and
Kevin Love is
and they don't have the 4 home games.
Kevin Love is a very interesting case for the Cavaliers because I think overall, in terms of their chances in this series, he does hurt them because they have so few answers for who can guard Kevin Durant. And Jeff Green is the second best option on that team to guard Kevin Durant outside of LeBron, and they don't want LeBron on him for more than 20 minutes because that's going to hurt LeBron's ability to perform offensively. So, and having Jeff Green in the starting lineup means, are you going to bring K-Love off the bench? They've done that before in the finals, and I think they won one game like that. So we could see something interesting happening with Kevin Love, and moving forward after next season, after the Cavs likely lose, I think if they want to retain LeBron, I think they're going to need to move Kevin Love, and I think they're going to need to move that 8th pick. And I think that those pieces are appealing. Those are good pieces that a team that's looking to turn around, that is on the brink of playoff contention, could jump on to really unload a player. And who knows what could happen with Kawhi Leonard? Who knows what could happen?
I think it's much more important that they add Kawhi Leonard than that they work with the other side.
Conversely,
conversely of what you just said, Golden State's got 5 guys that can play LeBron, and LeBron's just virtually unplayable.
Right,
but you start with Livingston, you got Iguodala's going to play, and you got Draymond can play him, and Durant can play him, Klay Thompson can play him.
So what's the recipe for the Cleveland Cavaliers to win? So I think the recipe is the role players all need to show up, which they've proven they cannot. So George Hill needs to play like Indiana George Hill. J.R. Smith needs to have his best 7 games of his career. And Kevin Love needs to shoot above 45% from 3. And the other players need to fill in here and there and being able to defend the Warriors. And on the other side, Curry needs to continue to be extremely inconsistent, and the Cavs need to hope to limit these Curry flurries, specifically in the third quarter. They need to hope that there's some kind of rift, because there is something off about the Warriors.
Yes.
It's unusual because they come out and they'll show you this Warriors that's like, okay, this is the Warriors as the best team in the league and no one's even close. And then the next game they come out and they lay a dud. And it's very interesting, and it seems like it's not necessarily animosity, but there's a very, very small rift or a divide between players' visions, or between Kerr and the coaches and the players' ability to be able to handle a message on the team. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. And I think I think Durant is probably at the center of that because of how dynamic he is. He's probably the best isolation scorer in the entire league. He's a top 3 player in the league, with the other two being
I would say
Steph.
he's the number 2 player.
Yeah.
Who would be 3? It's LeBron, clearly 1. I'm not going to say Curry over him.
When I make my ranks, I still put Kawhi Leonard second because the last Kawhi Leonard I said was the second best player in the league. Last healthy, when Kawhi Leonard's healthy, I still stand as him being the second. I understand what people say with Durant being the second, and that's fine. That's fine. But so they need for Kevin Durant to somehow be forcing isolation shots and making bad decisions. And if he gets 35, but it means that the offense is moving slower, and it means that Steve Kerr is getting frustrated with the way that their flow of their formerly beautiful game that they titled their team is playing, that could cause some type of issues. That's something that the Warriors or the Cavs could hope for. And then you need to hope for an extended absence of Iguodala. You need to hope Draymond does something dumb, which isn't that crazy. And you need to hope that Klay Thompson you need to really hope that Klay Thompson either gets hurt or Klay Thompson just doesn't show up. So I think there's too many things that need to happen for them to even
and on
come
the
close.
other end, LeBron has the ability to influence the game. And he has the ability to influence the game for 48 minutes, which he played, on both ends of the court. I mean, I had people sitting with me that didn't like that block shot on Rozier, and they say, foul, foul, foul. I said, No, I don't think so, boy. I think that was
like if it was in Boston.
Dylan.
If they called that, I would have been like, okay, it was a foul. But I'm not surprised they didn't call it.
But defensively, I think LeBron could have an imprint on that game. He can play so much. He can have an impact on so much of the court. I love how LeBron's playing.
Right.
I love his spacing. I like the way that he's not becoming a James Harden in terms of that. He's finding ways. Highlights. The 27-point game, I thought, was LeBron's best game of the playoffs, and it was a 27, not the 46, not the 45. He could find a way to steal a game, and if it's ever game one, that would change everybody's perspective.
So here's my stance on it is I think the Cleveland Cavaliers do win tonight. I think Andre Iguodala being out, and I think that all the pundits and people expecting this series to go a certain way.
See what the spread is?
What is it, like 12?
12 and a half.
Yeah, 12 and a half. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think that the Cavs are going to pull one out. What's unfortunate is LeBron James has the capability to, and probably will, average close to a 40-point triple-double for this finals. It's probably going to be close.
Oh, he's averaging 35.
He's averaging 35. Exactly. He's going to tick it up, and I don't think
with a high shooting
it's
percentage.
crazy because it's not going to be enough. And this LeBron that we're watching right now is one of the best LeBron postseasons we've ever had. And to say that for LeBron, for the career that he's had, is remarkable when you consider that he has next to no shot to beat this team.
But he'll never be a member of the club.
That's okay. But it's
really
okay,
funny. But he'll never be a member of the club.
It's interesting. I'm thinking tonight, LeBron's probably going to get 40 plus. I bet you
he doesn't have to.
I think he's going to get 40 plus.
He could have that 27-point game with the distribution and the contribution on defense and just orchestrating the spacing on the floor and everything and being that threat that's gravitating the defense towards him.
In the year that the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Warriors with a 3-1 upset, one of LeBron.
Don't forget Kyrie.
One of LeBron's.
Kyrie averaged 30 points a game in that series.
Kyrie was phenomenal, and
they're going to miss
Kyrie. They're going to miss Kyrie. But something that LeBron. Mentally, he had such a stranglehold on that series in terms of his motivation against the Warriors players that it was blazed through so obviously. He was able to infuriate Draymond Green to the point where Draymond Green made such a bad decision that hurt his team and ended up leading to the Warriors losing that series. I'm interested to see if LeBron can have a mental advantage over both Draymond and more specifically Kevin Durant in this series, and whether he can create a bigger even wedge in this potential divide that we're seeing.
Shay, that was a very rational approach to Draymond Green,
if you watch that game, he was antagonizing.
That was a real conversation, and I understand that, and LeBron and him, and that's how I wish you would talk about, not gravitate into Mo, Larry, and Curly. And that was much better. I like that. That's a good analysis.
I feel like I talk very rationally the entire time I talk about Draymond, but that's okay.
Wow.
I think that it'll be interesting to see. Look tonight to see if there's any back and forth, any bickering going back and forth between LeBron and Durant, and to see how that affects.
We won't see it all the time.
But it's focused. Try to watch. And to see how Durant performs afterwards.
Tell me if this isn't what you know. I see LeBron conserving his energy and not doing that as much. Not being as vocal in terms
he steps away.
to the referees or everybody else. He's conserving his energy.
Yeah, he's everything. He's conserving everything.
He better conserve his energy.
But I think that the mental game is a huge aspect that he needs to be able to control in this series.
Well, he's going to try and get in
Durant. I think he's got to try to get in Durant's head because Durant's proven to be a thin-skinned, a
little bit.
Like he's very easily altered in terms of his perception of himself and what's going on around him. It's clear that he's not receptive to certain motivational speeches.
He hasn't changed his approach to offense.
Yes, so it's going to be interesting. That's something to watch. How many games do you got it? Final prediction for the NBA Finals, round 4, LeBron versus the Warriors. 5 games.
That's what I got.
I'm going to go 6 games just because
I want.
The 5th
game is in Golden State. I'd say they win 1 in Cleveland. I'm
saying they win 1 here, and I'm going to say they win game 4. So I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2, and people are going to be really excited. But then I'm going to say the Warriors are going to blow them out in the game 5 and 6.
Just as far as the odds makers, this may be as big a mixed match as there's been.
It's very interesting. Just to close out, LeBron James he's played in this is his 9th finals. He's been underdog in 7 of them. Very interesting to think about how his team stacks up against the other team. But that's all the time we have for today. Enjoy the first game of the NBA Finals. Until next time, me and Mike, we're out of here.
Can I have my...
Yeah, you can have it back.
Thank you.
You can have it back. Can't believe it.